We left the beauty of the Grand Tetons behind as we traveled to the lava fields of the Craters of the Moon National Monument. This area was so otherworldly, and the park was so well maintained that this became one of our favorite stops. There were many trails to hike, but you could also venture off trails anywhere in the park. We enjoyed our stay very much. We had an amazing sunset, first with the golden hour, followed by all the colors in the clouds. The next day, we did one last hike that we got in just before a storm hit. Made it inside, but it's really windy. Have a little lunch. The trailer's shaking all over the place. And it's a perfect time to leave Craters of the Moon. The next few days we spent exploring the interesting town of Twin Falls, Idaho. The falls were much bigger than we had expected, and I can't imagine what they must look like in the spring when they are raging. We did a multi-mile hike on the edge of the canyon where we saw many little springs and waterfalls flowing out of the cliffside. On our hike, we also came upon the spot where Evel Knievel attempted, unsuccessfully, to jump the Snake River. I do not know how he survived that jump. Daredevils still come to Twin Falls. They base jump off of the Perrine Bridge. It was too windy the day that we were there for them to jump, but Brian walked across the bridge while I opted to stay behind and smell the flowers. After Mass, we stopped into Norm's Cafe for a great American breakfast. Let's just say that our campground in Twin Falls was a little bit interesting, so we opted to continue on to a harvest host, which turned out to be a great decision. It was time to pick our fantasy football teams, and it was definitely one of the best locations we could have been in. I just hope that all that delicious wine and beautiful scenery didn't negatively affect our fantasy picks. And then finally, we were in Oregon. We started our tour of Oregon in the John Day fossil beds. When I typically think of Oregon, I think of lush forests or the foggy coastline, but the eastern desert side of Oregon has its own unique beauty. We also visited the Painted Hills with all of their vivid colors. Brian explored some of the canyons on his bike.
Really cool, kind of canyony.
It was amazing to us how a little bit of water can turn the desolate desert into lush fields. After many more hours of driving, we hit the Oregon forests, and we were on our way to our next adventures, Silver Falls State Park, and finally, the Oregon coast.